It's a great pleasure to welcome back to Burlington Marty Rouse. Marty and I worked together on the other side of this park in a little campaign office on St. Paul Street in 1996. So Marty was the director of the coordinated campaign, and you know, it's an untold story. I think in many ways no one's had a greater impact on Vermont politics on the makeup of the legislature. So people will forget there were 19 Republicans in the Senate back then in 1996. Marty has had a huge role in turning that around. It's a pleasure to welcome you back, my friend and dear friend Marty Rouse. You know, let me say the remarkable turnout just 2 weeks ago on primary day, I think, was a tribute to the fact that Christine Hallquist is running an outstanding race already, just as we head into the fall. She is talking about issues that are important to working families, to women, to marginalized communities, to all Vermonters, urban and rural. As the mayor of Burlington, I have to say I am particularly excited about the prospect of a governor that brings her background in the utility industry into office. I have learned as mayor of the enormous role that our publicly owned utility plays in making Burlington what it is today, making it a place that is a net, that was the first city in the country to source 100% of our electricity from renewable energy and is now on its way to becoming a net zero energy city across the ground transportation and the thermal sectors as well. Burlington, the utility can play a huge role in equity issues, making sure the community stays affordable and just. And it is very exciting, the thought of a woman in the governor's office who brings that background, who knows how to make that hugely important sector of the state work and work right, and can take that knowledge and apply it to so many other key issues in state governance. So it is an exciting day. I'm excited to be standing here and putting myself behind this historic campaign. Christine, it's a pleasure, and I wish you the best of luck. Thank you so much. With that, I'd like to welcome to the podium our great Lieutenant Governor, David Zuckerman.
Thanks, Mauro. That help you guys out? So, thank you. I'm proud to be here today. Going to try to not knock over the podium. Couple things. We're standing on City Hall steps in Burlington, where Mayor Peter Clavell first extended partnership benefits to same-sex couples way back before anybody else was talking about it. And so to stand here on these steps is completely appropriate, both from the city's leadership to the state's leadership in 2000 with civil unions and 2008 with marriage equality, to continue to extend the issues and the discussion around equality issues to all Vermonters, and frankly, for people all across the country to see that in a state where you welcome everyone and everyone is treated equally, you thrive as a community and everybody's the better for it. With that, I just want to mention that I have not known Christine that well for very long. I've known Christine for a few years, but mostly she was up towards the northeast part of the state, and we didn't know each other very well. But what I've seen of Christine has always been very impressive. Her depth and interest in knowledge of issues is critically important, and for me, always in serving in public office, it's been about the issues. And if you really look back at the success in Vermont on any number of points, it's when we focus on issues that matter to everyday Vermonters that we win and we move forward. Whether it's economic justice, criminal justice, environmental justice, we get out there and talk about these issues, we will win and we will move our state forward. Now, I believe strongly that this is a winnable race, that Christine, with this endorsement of the Human Rights Campaign, as well as the growing momentum behind her, is going to bring her past the finish line in November. Now, one of the things to recognize was the turnout in the primary. Now, everybody I know in the political media and the political sphere thought turnout was going to be below 10%. It was going to be single digits. And yet we had one of the biggest turnouts we've ever had in a midterm election. Now, certainly we can credit Christine with that. We can also credit Vermont voters who want to engage. And when Vermonters engage, and as Vermonters engage more and more, that's going to change the dynamic in Montpelier. It's going to change the governor's office to be Governor Hallquist instead of Governor Scott. Think that's a good thing, is it not? It's going to change the makeup of the House so that we have a supermajority, so that no matter what happens, we're going to continue to move forward with positive policies for the state of Vermont. And we're going to continue to hold on in the Senate and maybe even add a seat, Rutland County and a few other places with some strong candidates. So my main point today, before I introduce our next speaker, is that citizen engagement by all of our campaigns and citizen engagement in the political process is what is going to make our future better. So with that, our future has been made better all across the country by the incredible organization Human Rights Campaign. I've known Marty for a long time. I've just had the pleasure to meet our next speaker, who I'm excited to hear from as he makes this announcement, I believe. So I'd like to introduce Chad Griffin, the president of the Human Rights Campaign.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Lieutenant Governor, and thank you all so much for being out here with us today. I have to say, it is great to be able to be with you here on this very sunny and warm, yet we've got shade above us and an incredible wind from the lake. But it is so great to be here in the Green Mountain State and to be able to be with all of you as we announce what I truly believe is a history-making campaign and a history-making moment here in this state. Before I get into my remarks, I just want to take a moment to acknowledge so many trailblazers and so many leaders of today and so many leaders that we stand on their shoulders. Every single one of us here today, we stand on the shoulders of others to do the work that we do. And Vermont is a state on LGBTQ issues and so many issues of quality have a lot of shoulders to stand on. And so let me just take a moment to acknowledge some of the leaders who are here with us today. First of all, I also want to give a shout out to my colleague Marty Rouse, who's our national field director. He's in charge of our work in all 50 states around this country, and so it says a lot that he's here in this state, and he considers himself, I think by his time here, he is certainly at least a partial Vermonter. He lived here for many years. He helped to lead a major presidential campaign here and has been instrumental in the work in the state legislature and working with so many other leaders. And I am very proud to call Marty a colleague and a friend. I also know that Stan Baker's here of the Baker decision. And speaking of shoulders that we stand on, we are grateful for your leadership and for you being here today. I'm going to get in trouble because I know I'm going to leave off some folks. So let me again thank the Lieutenant Governor Zuckerman, for your leadership, as well as the mayor. Also joining us today, the House Majority Leader. Where are you, Majority Leader? Right here, the House Majority Leader. It is such an honor to get to spend time with her today and to hear about the campaign in these local House races all across the state, and we are grateful for your leadership as well. Also, Representatives Lippert as well as Gonzalez are here. Thank you for your leadership and for all that you have done to move this state forward and to move the issues of quality forward from many years ago to the work that still has to be done today. And just in general, if I have left off any elected leaders, please forgive me and welcome and thank you. On behalf of the Human Rights Campaign, one moment, sorry. On behalf of the Human Rights Campaign and our more than 3 million members and supporters, it is my true honor to be here today to announce our endorsement of a true trailblazer, a proven business leader, and a champion of equality. She is a proven civil rights leader, she is a proven civic leader, and she is a strong advocate for LGBTQ equality and the equality of marginalized communities all across this state. And she's also making history along the way. As the first out transgender person to be the nominee for governor of a major political party, she is giving hope to countless transgender and LGBTQ people and allies, but especially LGBTQ young people all across this state and all across this country. From civil rights to healthcare to government accountability, she is committed to making Vermont a state that has been on the forefront of equality, an even stronger, an even more vibrant, and a more inclusive state. And that's why the Human Rights Campaign is so proud to stand here today to endorse Christine Hallquist for governor. Together, we're mobilizing the 20,000 LGBTQ voters across this state and the more than 140,000 equality voters that we've identified across the state of Vermont, mobilizing them to turn out to help her make history on Election Day because she is the right choice to lead this state forward. It is now my great honor and privilege to introduce to you the next governor of the great state of Vermont, Christine Hallquist. Thank you. We're going to make history in this.
And thank you, Chad, and thank you, Marty. And I certainly want to thank the Human Rights Campaign for all you do. I've been a supporter for many years. Little to know I would be standing here today as a result of the work and of course, the many folks that have come before us today. I will also tell you, interestingly enough, I really loved my job in the utility, and I really loved working to solve climate change. I think the technical term is a nerd today. I was a real nerd. But one of the things I'm really pleased to learn is that, as talking with Moreau and David and all the other folks, Jill, we got a lot of really good nerds in our government, and policy wonks. It really is about policy wonks, and I think our voters expect us to be policy wonks. They expect us to know what we're doing, and that's the trust they put in us. So I'm so happy to see that so many people who are in office today are thinking so deeply about the issues. That is such a pleasure, and I am really happy to be here. When I transitioned back on December 2nd of 2015, I thought I would lose everything. When I grew up, I had two wonderful parents. I grew up in one of the classic rural communities in New York, much reflective of the rural communities in Vermont. Pretty homogenized community. But my mom taught me some good lessons. Okay, we lost the battery on that one, but my mom taught me some good lessons, and my dad was a great engineer, and so I grew up with a really good family. And I, when I got older, I had three wonderful children. I moved to this beautiful state, one of the most beautiful states in the Union. Sorry, other 49 states. And it's, and a wonderful spouse. And you would think that would be enough for somebody. I had a joyous life. But deep inside, I had this secret. And that secret became so intense that I had to come to the truth. And I did this for my children. I have three wonderful adult children. They're all activists. They're all Democrats. I realized that I can't go to my grave with this secret. So I took the long journey, and it was a long journey, many, many years, to get to the point where I would transition. And I transitioned on December 2nd, 2015, and a miracle happened. Vermonters welcomed me with open arms. But when I reflect on that miracle, that is not a surprising miracle for Vermont because of our history. And I will tell you, it's the work of many, many Vermonters before us that have made this possible for me. And certainly the laws, the gender protection laws that were passed in 2007 were critically important. And that's kind of a message to the rest of the states in the Union. I don't think you can do this without having those strong protections. I'm very proud of the work of the Human Rights Commission campaign, and I certainly will continue to do all I can to help the campaign. And I'm so proud to have their support for this next step. I want Vermont to be a welcoming place for all people. We can grow Vermont. There's this whole idea, this woe me in rural Vermont, that we're seeing this aging demographic, increasing rates of poverty, flights to the city. And I know that we can turn that around by creating a long-term vision together. The governor working with the legislature can create a compelling vision for Vermont, because Vermont's a beautiful place, and I know lots of people that want to move here. So we will grow this state. But when I talk about marginalized groups, I want us all to recognize, in my previous job, we served 18 of the 25 poorest communities of Vermont. And when I talk about marginalized communities, I'm not just talking about individuals within those communities. I'm talking about the physical communities. Just like rural Vermont, just like rural America, we've left some of these communities on their own. And so I recognize with all the work that I did in terms of solving climate change that we're not going to be able to solve those problems without addressing the economic justice issues. So, yeah, so things like getting Medicare for all, you know, growing the economy for the bottom 20% on the income ladder, those are all the things we need to do, and we will do. And many people have said, you know, I don't understand this political division we see. You know, when I hear, are you a progressive, are you a Democrat, what are you? Let's not talk about that. Because 90+% of Vermonters, regardless of political stripe, want the same thing. And it's called, and you know, when I talk about a living wage, Medicare for all, and ending homelessness, that's not a political issue. That's called being a civilized society. And I somehow. So, you know, in this world of division we see in the rest of the country, we are, and we can, and we will be the little state that shows the rest of this country how good democracy operates. We are a beacon of hope. You know, I used to say before 2 weeks ago we were a beacon of hope to the country, but we may be a beacon of hope to the rest of the world. So I'm very proud to stand before you and thank you all for all the work you've done to make this possible for me.